Here is the latest Higher Summits forecast brought to you by our friends at the Mount Washington Observatory.
Weather above treeline in the White Mountains is often wildly different than at our trailheads. Before you hike, check the Higher Summits forecast at mountwashington.org. Weather observers working at the nonprofit Mount Washington Observatory write this elevation-based forecast every morning and afternoon. Search and rescue teams, avalanche experts, and backcountry guides all rely on the Higher Summits forecast to anticipate weather conditions above treeline. You should too. Go to mountwashington.org or text forecast to 603-356-2137.
Hello, listeners. Nick here with your forecast for the weekend of July 18th, 2026. Friday, mostly in the clear, trending towards clearing early under mostly sunny skies. High in mid-40s. Wind northwest at 50 to 70 miles per hour with gusts up to 80 miles per hour early, 40 to 55 miles per hour with gusts up to 65 miles per hour midday, and 30 to 45 miles per hour later. Wind chill rising to 25 to 35 above. Friday night. In the clear under increasingly cloudy skies. Slight chance of rain showers, mainly late. Low, steady in the mid-40s. Wind northwest, shifting west at 30 to 45 miles per hour early, decreasing to 20 to 35 miles per hour. Wind chill 25 to 35 above. And Saturday, mostly in the clear under mostly cloudy skies, trending into the clouds by midday. A chance of morning rain showers becoming likely in the afternoon. A chance of afternoon thunderstorms. High in the lower 50s. Wind west shifting southwest at 20 to 35 miles per hour early, 30 to 45 miles per hour with gusts up to 55 miles per hour midday, and 40 to 55 miles per hour with gusts up to 70 miles per hour later. Higher gusts possible with thunderstorm activity. Wind chill 25 to 35 above early, then rising. So starting out pretty nice on Friday. It looks like things are getting a little bit rainy and potentially thunderstormy on Saturday afternoon. Stay safe out there. Happy hiking. Go crush some peaks.
Broadcasting from the Woodpecker Studio in the great Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast, where we discuss all things related to hiking and search and rescue in the White Mountains of New Hampshire and beyond. Here are your hosts, Mike and Nick.
All right, Nick, he just hit record. We're on episode 239. We got to switch it up a little bit here. We had a little a scheduling issue. One of our guests couldn't make it, so which happens sometimes. But I think this is the first time in a long time where this has happened, where we were not able to slot somebody else in. So it's just Mike and Nick tonight, right?
Yeah. Life happens sometimes, as they say, but you cranked out some content for us, so I think we've got enough to do a show.
We do.
Or more than enough, probably. You were thinking about a history segment, I know, but it sounds like we're pretty cramped.
Yeah, I got some stuff I got to work on, but we won't cover it in this show. But we've got a bunch of things here. But I wanted to start the show off. Just a reminder: Seek the Peak is coming up. So Seek the Peak is the annual fundraiser for the Mount Washington Observatory. So it's their largest annual fundraiser. It's been going on for 26 years. So it brings together hikers, adventurers, and people who care about weather science and the outdoors. So the annual Seek the Peak is coming up on Saturday, July 18th. So when we drop this on Friday, it'll be the next day. So it's I guess 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Wildcat is the after party event, but you can go ahead and register. So we'll put the registration link in the show notes. And then if you can't hike but you want to help out, our friend Andy from the COG, and Andy from the COG and the COG just were involved in another rescue this week. They shuffled up a bunch of people. We're going to cover that. But if you want to donate to Andy's Seek the Peak fundraiser, he's going to climb Mount Washington from Raymond Cataract. Do you know what that is, Nick?
So Raymond Cataract, I believe, is I guess it's a cataract. I'm not sure.
It's like it's a waterfall. Cataract.
Yeah, it's like a geological feature. I know there's a waterfall you can see certain times of the year, but I believe it's that area. If you're looking, like, say you're on Square Ledge and Pinkham Notch and looking across, it's the area in between Tuckerman Ravine on your left and then Huntington on your right. So it's that like in between sort of area.
It's sort of like on the right shoulder of Lionhead, basically.
Yes, I believe you're right. I'm not familiar with the Lionhead route, but yeah, that sounds about right. It's sort of that right off the right side of Tuckerman Ravine. If you're looking at, or I guess kind of the northern side of Tuckerman Ravine might be more appropriate to say.
I think it's technically in Huntington Ravine, but to the far left. So Lionhead Trail goes up right on the the edge of the two ravines, and then I think Raymond Cataract is it's a bushwhack for sure.
Yes,
there used to be some kind of a trail that there was some reference to a trail in the 1955 to 1970s that it was referenced in the AMC guides, but it's since been grown over. So it is a true bushwhack, but I think it's essentially just following like some kind of a drainage that has multiple waterfalls, with one waterfall that I think is known as being more spectacular. But so he's taken a crazy route up.
Yeah, I'm like, it sounds very Andy-esque. I look forward to hearing about his adventure and seeing it.
Right.
I remember seeing, you were talking about waterfalls, but when I was up there one time, I think it had to be like late May, early June, looking across some Square Ledge up there, and there was like a waterfall you could even see with your eyes sort of like coming down that time of year. It was pretty impressive, and like zooming in with my camera, I was like, oh, that's like a massive cascade. Like it was huge coming down there.
Right.
It was really impressive.
Yeah, and for listeners, I think, just so that everyone can get their bearing, when you say Square Ledge, I think some people think of like, the 52 with a view summit by Oliver, off of Oliverian Brook near past Conway. There's another Square Ledge, which is from Pinkham Notch, which is the main parking lot from Route 16 in Mount Washington. If you go right across the street from Pinkham Notch, there's a little trail that, what is it, like maybe, it's not even a half a mile, Nick, is it?
Yeah, maybe if that, it is a good up. I want to say it's maybe 400 or 500 feet, pretty short, but really spectacular ledges. I think there's a bit of rock climbing on one side of it.
It's very, so if you're taking if you want to take an introductory rock climbing course, they run, like the guides in that area run training there all the time, because it's maybe 100-foot rock wall, and then you can climb up the side of it and then come up on top, so you could rappel down or you can climb up it or whatever. So I think it's a perfect place for training, and it's like a 10-minute walk from the Pinkham Notch parking lot. So, but it's unbelievable because you get that sick view of Huntington, and then you can see a little bit of Tuckerman as well from the Boots Spur side.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. That was one of my early forays into trying to get a sunset, and I didn't realize that time of year, or I guess really any time of year, just because of how tall Mount Washington is and where you are in that ravine, that like, or I guess in Pinkham Notch, not a ravine, the sun was already like below Mount Washington by like 7:30 or something, like it well before sunset. The sun was already below on that side. So I'm like, well, this is pointless, but it was still really nice views. And then like off to the north and the right there, you can kind of see like Adams and Madison and that whole area.
Right.
Like you said, in really, really small effort to get up there, like a short scramble and you're kind of there more or less.
Used to take the kids. We would take the kids, do that, take them to Pinkham Notch to get like whatever ice cream or a soda or something like that. And then we would walk up to Crystal Cascades, and they could just sort of hang out by that bridge there and that waterfall with the staircase at the bottom of Tuckerman. And that was a full day. They were exhausted.
Yeah. Perfect afternoon activity, morning activity.
We'd get Dairy Queen on the way back or something. So stop at one of the restaurants in North Conway. So it's a good day. Anyway, but shout out to Andy. So we'll put the link in the show notes if you want to donate. He has a little over $1,000. He wants to raise $1,200, so we want to get him over the $1,200. So I haven't put in yet. I'm gonna toss him some cash, but definitely help out if you're interested. And then if you want to jump in to Seek the Peak, it's a great fundraiser for sure. So
cool. Yeah, and good luck to all the other teams that be out that day.
Excellent. All right. Welcome to episode 239 of the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast. This week, we are solo. It's a Mike and Nick show here, no guest. So we're going to cover a lot of New Hampshire news. We've got wild weather coming up. We've got Canadian wildfires. We've got New Hampshire rated the best state to move to, Nick. So the aspirations, we got to move to New Hampshire. A hiker gets injured on Mount Kearsarge and then gets a wedding proposal while in the carryout litter. So I sent that over to you, and Stomp couldn't believe that one.
That was a funny one. Well, not funny, like funny, weird.
Yeah. Hikers get in trouble near Huntington Ravine Trail again. Nick, they're going to shut that trail down on us. I'm going to be pissed.
Crazy.
Yeah, we get a Dave Shits in the Woods update. This time he's entering New England, folks. So look out. Hide your toilet paper. We've got New Hampshire lawmakers behaving badly. We've got a teenager doing a full send off of Glen Ellis Falls, and he won a trip to the hospital. Plus, the least crowded routes to hike the 4,000 footers. Grandpa gets launched into the air by an angry bison in Yellowstone. A preview of an upcoming trip to Baxter State Park, and then some recent search and rescue news. So I'm Mike.
And I'm Nick.
Let's get started.
Let's get started!
Hooray. Okay.
Woo!
Very good here. So we talked about Andy from the Cox. So we have a bunch of New Hampshire news here, Nick, starting with wild weather coming into northern New England tonight. So what's this all about?
Yeah, so it looks like we've got rare severe weather targets New England with tornadoes, hurricane force winds triggering a level 3 to 5 threat, which apparently is just the strongest thunderstorm risk. Says it'll be mostly across parts of northern Maine, northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, and New York's North Country. So it looks like things are getting maybe a little hairy later tonight. Apparently, it says that the storms will be fueled by the heat dome baking much in the northeast. Temperatures in the upper 90s in places like Plattsburgh and Syracuse are expected to reach near record highs. More or less, a powerful storm system moving out of Canada will collide with this hot, humid air, triggering thunderstorms beginning Tuesday afternoon. And it sounds like the greatest risk of those storms include the area that makes up a lot of the whites. So seeming like there's big potential for some really nasty thunderstorms, maybe some tornadoes. They're saying they could see up to EF2 tornadoes, which is that, I think is it the Fujiyama scale? I forget exactly that's how they measure sort of the damage and wind speeds and whatnot. Saying egg-sized hail and very intense storms. So hopefully everybody up there is staying safe. As we're recording this, because that's pretty much the time frame.
Yeah, I'm looking at the radar right now, and there's a cluster of thunderstorms going through Berlin over to Augusta right now, but it looks pretty mellow. There is another group of storms that is developing over Ottawa coming down from Canada, but like right now it looks pretty quiet, so hopefully it will stay that way. Nick, what's the worst weather conditions you've ever been in that you can recall?
Hiking or just in general? In general, I don't even know. A couple of years ago, we had a tornado that touched down in Rehoboth and was in Seekonk, so that was a little hairy. We got like the full alerts on the phones, and that's probably the only time in my life I can remember we actually went down. We have like a finished basement where our living room is, the way our tri-level house is split up, and like we actually like woke up and we're like, we're gonna go down there just in case. There was some really just nasty, like you could tell the thunderstorm was like right over us. Like you hear the crack and wow, I can't talk tonight. I should say that you could see the flash and then hear like the crack basically immediately. And yeah, that was probably only 3 or 4 miles from us. There was a tornado that touched down, and it thankfully didn't do much damage, but kind of ripped up some fields and stuff. And you could definitely tell where it had touched down in Rehoboth. So that was a little scary in recent memory.
Yeah. I've had like mini twisters come through my yard, North Reading, when I was a kid. I definitely remember that, but nothing too bad. I think the craziest I can think of, Nick, is I was on my way. Matter of fact, I was on my way to hike Mount McGalloway, and I stopped in Lancaster, New Hampshire. I think I was at Dunkin' Donuts at Lancaster, and a hailstorm blew up out of nowhere, and it was like literally golf ball size.
Oh wow!
Hail. So that was kind of crazy, but it was only for maybe like 10 minutes max. But I was kind of locked in my car. I was like, there's no way I'm getting out because I would get killed with the hail coming down. But other than that, I think there's been some crazy, like there's been hurricanes and stuff that have come through New England that I guess I recall, but nothing too bad. So we're kind of lucky that weather-wise, I suppose.
Yeah, there was one time it made me think of when you were talking about hail. When Ash and I had done Washington by myself. That's like the only time we separated on our initial round of the 48. On Memorial Day weekend, the next weekend we went up there, and she wanted to do that, and we looped in Monroe and did the loop up ammo down Jewel. And it wasn't like really, I think there was maybe a risk of like just kind of rainstorms, but we actually got blasted by hail on top of Monroe, ended up hiding behind a cairn with some guys that were doing a Prezi Traverse, and said that they were getting blasted on and off all day, but not like golf size hail, but it was windy enough that it was like, it hurt when the hail hit you for sure, even with the jacket on and stuff. Yeah, that was kind of fun. You could see like the storm front sort of moving in on you. You could see like sort of the rain shadow kind of coming in, and then it passed over us. And the rest of the day was fine. It was just windy, but it was just kind of a lucky occurrence, I guess, for us.
I wonder if our umbrellas would protect us from the hailstorm.
I don't know. I don't know if mine would have got blown inside out. I think if you tried to
tree line, so
yeah,
that's a
would have just got ripped around.
Right. Well, all right. Well, anyway, wild weather's coming. Then we have wildfire haze coming in from California, Canada as well. So it's been kind of murky. Has it been murky where you are too?
Yeah, you can see. Actually, the sun is sort of orange out of the side of my window right now. It's funny too. Like when I say wildfire haze, everybody looks at me like I'm crazy. It's kind of one of those things that I feel like I've gotten to know, and I don't know if it's just a more common thing the last years. It certainly seems like it, but it happens a few times every summer where we get you get that orangey sun that kind of is going to the one thing here, I guess. On a positive note, not that the forests are burning, but it kept the temperatures here like not as hot as it was supposed to get to today. I think Rehoboth was supposed to get to like 93, and it looks like locally we only hit like 85 or something. So
yeah, we're about 90 degrees here in Amesbury right now, so it's still a little toasty, but maybe it would have been warmer if they didn't have the haze. So
yeah, very good.
All right, next up here, Nick. This is a New York Post article, so I mean, take it for what it's worth. But California plummets in rankings of worst states to move to as a surprising state takes the lead. The surprising state, Nick, is New Hampshire. So this is mostly about how California has dropped as far as the quality of life, the cost of living, and California is now ranked 48 out of 50 in the consumer affairs. So consumer affairs, I mean, that's legit. Right? Consumer Affairs is a legit source. They've released its annual report of the best and worst U.S. states to settle in. So California is ranked 48th. Do you have any idea who the worst state or what the worst state is, Nick?
I don't. I won't read any more of the article.
It's New Mexico.
Interesting.
Which I don't know.
Interesting.
How they, and there's another report. California's not doing well. There was another report by Wallet Hub that revealed that California is home to 6 of the least educated cities in the entire country. I'm surprised about that. California ranks dead last in 50th in affordability. I'll tell you, like I hire a lot of people, Nick, and that was one of the issues with California. If you hire someone, you have to factor, especially these big tech companies, you got to factor in like the tax rate is insane. It's like double that of Massachusetts because you've got state income tax, you've got local taxes. So even though you make more money, it's still like the housing and everything is expensive. But conversely, New Hampshire took the top spot as the best state to move to, jumping into the top spot from second last year, dropping last year's winner Utah down to second. So Idaho, Virginia, and Maine round out the top 5 states to move to, with Arkansas and Oklahoma rounding out the bottom 5. So Oklahoma, Arkansas, California, Louisiana, and New Mexico were the bottom 5. And then New Hampshire, Utah, Idaho, Virginia, and Maine are the top 5.
That's pretty cool to see New England getting represented in there.
Yeah,
considering it's nationwide.
I guess, it makes sense. New Hampshire has no state income tax. It's expensive, but like all things considered, it's more affordable than a lot of the other New England states if you factor in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And then you got mountains, you got lakes, you got ocean.
Yeah. It's a triple threat there.
Yes.
And it's funny, like I was texting you and Stomp, but it even just personally, like I have probably like 3 or 4 friends. I had a couple friends that lived out in LA. I had one in San Francisco and one that lived up in Portland, Oregon. And actually 2 of them, interestingly enough, have moved back to New Hampshire since like literally within the past year and a half or so. And the other 2 just moved back to Rhode Island because it's like they tried to make it out there for like probably 10 years. And like they were just done with the cost of living out there is just astronomical. Like unless you're making like, God, like probably median like 120 grand a year, like your household's pulling through. It's like hard to live in LA, or I think if you want to live in like a house and to have a house or something like that, you really need some money out there. Right? Like it's housing market's tough everywhere right now, but out there it's really bad.
I have a friend, Nick, who is he does no longer works for SpaceX, but he did work for SpaceX, and SpaceX went public, and he became a millionaire overnight. And I was texting back and forth with him, and he's like, I still can't afford a home in LA.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy. So, but it says New Hampshire here. It says the Granite State is second overall for safety and quality of life, third in the healthcare and education category. Plus, New Hampshire does not collect state sales tax or individual income tax from its residents. Such well-rounded metrics and a 2.8% unemployment rate, the 4th lowest in the country, make the state attractive to movers. So that's pretty good. Let's see how Massachusetts ranks here. Massachusetts is number 6 overall.
Yeah, so not too bad. I'm surprised considering how high our taxes are. But I think there's I will say, and I'm more moderate, sort of middle of the road with things, but I do think there are a lot of government programs that Mass has done fairly well.
Yeah.
Given the amount of taxes we have. Maybe I'll get raked for that, but
yeah, I don't know. I'm not taking advantage of any of them, Nick. I think now when I get a little older, I will.
Probably fair.
Yeah. So anyway, good for New Hampshire. It's number 1 in my book. So anyway, all right. Moving on to Nick. When you proposed to Mrs. Nick, how did you do it? Have we talked about this before? What was your move for the proposal?
Oh, maybe I didn't have anything super suave. My original idea was we were going up on vacation in Newfound Lake with my parents and stuff, and I was gonna like propose to her like on the lake at sunset like one night, but then I got in my head and was like, I feel like I'm gonna lose the ring or something stupid's gonna happen, and I'm also just impatient and was anxious about it, so I'm like, I'll like leave it on the counter because we're packing like our counter. We were in a condo at a time, and I'm like, surely she'll notice this ring box and be like excited, and then I'll like grab it and do the thing and drop to one knee, and it turns out that she just didn't notice it. Maybe she's just kind of not the most observant person, or maybe she was packing, but she walked by it like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 times, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So like finally I just grabbed the ring and kind of did the whole thing, but I just proposed to her like in our condo, and it was just us, and we called some people and we're like, hey, we're married, and everybody's like, finally.
Okay, so you did a low key. So you guys were living together already. So you did a low key move.
Yeah, we were living in sin, as they say. We already had debt together, so we were pretty locked in at that point.
No, she couldn't say no. Yeah. What about did you have to ask the parents? Did you ask the parents ahead of time?
I did do the whole, I asked her dad, my father-in-law, who I'd also known forever, and he was like, of course, why are you asking me? But I just felt the need. I don't know. I was just taught like that's the respectful thing. And he's like, of course. He's like, what am I going to say no? And I'm like, he's like, I'd be happy to have you. He's like, I kind of considered this was going to happen already.
Right. Guys, if you're listening, I think the move is ask both parents, though. Don't just isolate the father and ask. If they're together, ask the...
Yeah. I should say I talked to both of them.
Yeah, right.
It was like, it was one of those, like, she was out of the kitchen. I like asked it in the kitchen. They're like, and then she came back and they're like, well, no, I'm not talking about anything. It's fine. So.
Right. So, yeah. All right. Well, the reason I asked, Nick, is that we had a search and rescue news. I'm always monitoring the search and rescue news, and this came across the wire, and the title here is Injured Hiker Gets Engaged After Fall on New Hampshire Mountain, Carried Down on a Stretcher. Rescuers had to carry an injured hiker down from the summit of a New Hampshire mountain on a stretcher over the weekend, but that did not stop her from getting engaged. Alexis Hardy, a 29-year-old from Sandown, New Hampshire, was hiking Mount Kearsarge in Warner Saturday with her now fiance Tim Dupier when she fell and hurt her leg, the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department said in a news report. So Dupier had plans to propose during the scenic hike, but now Hardy was injured and unable to walk. So they called for help, and rescuers who tracked down the couple on the Barlow Trail brought a stretcher to carry Hardy off the mountain. The ordeal didn't stop Dupier from following through on his big plan. Nice ring here. Nice work here.
That is a nice rock on that one.
Yeah, that is not...
nice cut and clarity and carrot, I think.
Yeah, not bad, Tim. You did well there. So he didn't stop him. So once the rescue efforts were underway, Dupier asked Hardy for her hand in marriage, presenting an engagement ring, the department said, and she said yes. The photos, it's pretty good photo. Photos show the happy couple posing with rescuers and showing off the ring at the summit with Hardy on the stretcher. She was then carried down the mountain and taken to a hospital to be treated for her injuries. So they look pretty happy. But it's pretty funny. There's like, it looks like there's some good Samaritans, and then there's an EMT, and then there's some fire department folks. So, pretty good. Mount Kearsarge is an elevation of nearly 3,000 feet. I'm surprised about that, Nick. It's a very short hike in my recollection.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it was that tall. I would have thought it was more around the 2,500 foot range. Nice hike.
Yeah. It's considered one of the oldest mountains in the state, formed by glaciers more than 25,000 years ago. So, but this is good here. This is, I guess this guy, he pivoted, Nick.
He did.
I feel like I do like those videos on TikTok, what you said with Ashley not picking up on what's going on, like the guy taking the future wife to the beach to propose, and then she's not paying attention, or she's like running in front of him, or they're fighting or some nonsense, and then he finally she realizes what's going on. So those are always fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. It depends on the relationship, I guess, too, but a lot of people put in way more effort than I did. I don't know. Ash kind of was low key, but I know it's like some people get a photographer and all this stuff, and I'm like, you're going to be doing plenty of that when we have an actual wedding. So that was kind of my mentality, but whatever floats your boat.
Right. Exactly. I would say, Nick, I did a medium production.
Yeah. What was your approach?
We just I asked Mrs. Mike's parents, of course, for her hand or permission, and then I did it up in Brownfield, up in the beach.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So, but I waited till sunset, and then I forget, she was out shopping North Conway or something like that. So we set up a bunch of candles and then made a walkway down to the beach, and then she came out, and then I popped the question. Of course, she said yes, Nick. And but the nice thing was her parents were there. Some friends it was like a party weekend, so everybody was up in the house, so they could all watch what was going on. And then we had a party right afterwards and had some drinking and food. It was good times.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I kind of wish maybe, we did have her parents came up to Newfound Lake and with my parents and hung out for a couple nights, and I kind of thought about that ahead of time, but it's cool to have a little celebration with the family when you do something like that. We were also calling people after, and nobody would answer. It was funny. We're calling my mom, and nobody answers. Yeah. I was like, what's going on? I'm like, we just want to tell somebody. Finally, I think one of her sisters answered. Just funny.
Yeah. Well, that's good memories. Goes by quick. So congratulations to the happy couple, and looks like she injured her right ankle, so she'll be recovered in time to walk down the aisle, and hopefully in this downtime when she can't do much movement, she can plan the wedding. So, yeah,
I was thinking the only thing that probably could have made this article better is if he was a fake boyfriend, and then eventually he just kind of he got sort of a fall in love type story.
Right. She was trying to convince him to pretend to be the boyfriend so her parents would stop pressuring her to go out on dates. I get it. Yeah, it's a good plot, Nick. Very good. All right. This next one here. So we talked last week about the issues in Huntington Ravine. So Huntington Ravine Trail is one of the steepest trails in the White Mountains, considered to be probably the most difficult trail, and the Fish and Game has had it on its radar. There's been a number of rescues there over the last couple of months. Last week, there was a rescue, I think it was June 26th, there was a rescue of somebody that, instead of going right, they continued up into the rock climbing area where they should not have been, and they couldn't get down, so they had to do a ropes rescue. Nick, stop me if you heard this before, but another incident happened on July 12th. A young man from Quebec.
Yeah, a couple of people sent this to me other than even our hiking group, and same situation. Hiker got separated, got up to a point where he couldn't climb up or climb down, and thought that if he tried to climb down, he was going to get injured, and then they ended up getting SAR involved.
Right, yeah, and this one here, so this is a young guy, 18 years old in Quebec. He was with a group, and they decided to leave Pinkham Notch at 1:30 a.m. with the intention of getting to the summit of Mount Washington for sunrise, and they called Fish and Game for rescue at 4:05. So pretty quick.
Yeah, I had to I forgot about that wrinkle in the story that they were trying to do a sunrise on Mount Washington. Admittedly.
Right. So my understanding from the online chatter, Nick, is that they have reblazed Huntington Ravine. When I had that recording in 2021, like, it was blazed really clearly, but they've reblazed it. So, but I suspect that these guys were in the dark, and maybe their headlamp wasn't picking up the blaze on the rocks as much, and he went off on his own and got I think to the point of where he couldn't get back down. He was stranded.
So interestingly enough, and I did shoot this message, I forgot to share it with you and Stomp, but there was a reel that was floating around on Instagram, and it was a view of someone climbing in Huntington. They had a video of some people in, like, sort of where the trail was, and there were two people that were, it seemed to be decided from the comments, and even I think there was someone from Redline Guiding on there mentioning that these people that they were shown on video were, like, totally off the trail, because someone's like, oh, look how steep, and they're like, yeah, it is steep, but these people appeared to be entirely off the trail. They were off the blazed route. So I don't know, for whatever reason, it seems to be making its rounds in popularity, and people keep losing their way up. So you really got to pay attention to those blazes, it sounds like.
Right, yeah, and this kid basically, he made his way up like a wet, slippery rock slab, and he couldn't get back down. And by 5 a.m., Androscoggin Valley Search and Rescue Team began responding with mountain climbing gear. Fish and Game officers responded. They had to hike up the mountain and set up ropes, and I think they had to rappel down. They used the auto road to get up there. That is the one good thing, is that you can get up there pretty quick with the auto road. So no injuries were reported, but I guess this kid just inadvertently got off the trail, which led to the situation. The Fish and Game said they were well prepared with good gear and were in good physical condition, but that doesn't mean anything when you can't stay on the trail. So it is what it is. Young guys.
Yeah, the 18-year-old from Quebec. They did give him a little bit of a shout out that at least he had extra gear, which helped him shelter in place for the 5+ hours that it took between the call and when he was actually back on trail. So he did have layers with him, and sounded like he was prepared at least for the cold, chilly temperatures in the morning. So that was good.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely up in the scrub there. I don't know if I'd mess with Huntington, honestly, at night, Nick, just because the reason being is because even if it wasn't raining, if condensation was building up there, like, I just don't, I want to be able to see that rock to get a feel for what it's like so I can pick my route going up, because if it's wet, even if it hasn't rained, it can still be a condensation in there, and you don't want to mess around with wet rock on there because it's just dangerous.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, even I was out on Friday morning, and it was wet. It hadn't really rained much, but it was just wet and humid, and everything's just sticky because it's humid air, and you got cold rocks and condensation, and not great for traction.
Yeah, I mean, I like a good sunrise hike, but I don't think I'm picking Huntington as my route.
It's much easier trails to do up that for sunrise.
Yeah, because you can see, like, even the pictures here on the Facebook post from New Hampshire, you can see just the wet streaks going up the rock with the rescuers are dealing with. So I'm not playing around with that. So not a good call to hike Huntington in the dark, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Nick, I'm going to have to do another point of view video, but this time in French language for the Quebecers.
Yeah, I have to have a ChatGPT translator or something for you. You can put it back out.
True. So
nice Parisian accent, Mike.
Exactly.
Or maybe a Canadian accent, Mike.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know if I can do a Canadian. I can't even do like a regular. I can't even pronounce words, Nick, in my own language.
Mike, your North Shore, Massachusetts accent is beautiful, Mike. That's all you need.
I can't say. Is it a beer or is it a beer? I don't know. All right, Nick, we got a follow up here of an important story that we covered a couple of months ago. Do you know the singer Cher? If I could turn back time, and Sonny and Cher.
Yeah. Do you believe in life after love? Is it?
Do you believe in love? I think.
And Do You Believe in Love? Okay. I remember that
Those
one.
are absolute banger songs too, by the way. Those are good wedding songs, by the way. They get the crowd going. So, but anyway, her son, this is a weird story. So in the spring, so she had a son with, Greg Allman. You ever heard of the Allman Brothers?
I do know the Allman Brothers, yes.
And Greg Allman, he was part of the Allman Brothers, but he also had a solo career. Released a good album, I'm No Angel. It's good, check that song out. But he was quite a partier back in his days, but Cher liked the bad boys, so she had a torrid love relationship with him, had a child who is now 48 years old. And, wait a minute, is that right? Hold on a second.
I was just going to say, there appears to be a link for the World Cup. And the link for Cher's son was arrested.
It looks like the wrong link here. So, all right. Well, we have technical difficulties. So I don't know if he's 48 or not, but I can do this one off memory here, and I'll update the link here. But basically, what happened is that Cher's son went to school. He went to prep school in Maine, and then he's some sort of a layabout, as far as I can tell. He's like a nepo baby. 49 years old he is, that's correct. He apparently, for whatever reason, has gotten into multiple issues. He's been involved in drugs. Cher has tried to get his, I guess, I don't know what that's called. Like you get custody. Like, remember Britney Spears went crazy and her dad got custody of her? Like that's what Cher's trying to do with her crazy son.
Like adult custody sort of thing?
Right. Conservatorship, that's what it's called.
Yes.
So this guy, for whatever reason, and he's no connection to St. Paul's School in Concord. So St. Paul's is like this very hoity-toity prep school, and he's wandering around St. Paul's on a Friday night. He told them that he was like thinking about sending his kid here, but then he starts like smoking cigarettes inside the buildings. He's threatening parents, threatening kids, all this weird stuff. So he ends up getting like trespassed and arrested from St. Paul's. That makes national news. The next day, he's then down in, I think, Nashua or Manchester or something like that, breaks into a lady's house on a drunken rampage and ends up falling asleep on her couch. So since then, he's been in jail. He hasn't been able to get bail for whatever reason. And he's still in jail. So he's been in jail for like the last 6 or 9 months. And I guess Cher is trying to, get conservatorship over him, but she's previously tried and it was denied because he fought it. But he's still sitting in jail and he can't get bail. New Hampshire's been paying for this guy's 3 square meals and a bed for the last 6 months.
Interesting turn of events.
Well, a famous singer, she's got all kinds of money. I don't understand why she can't just bail him out, but maybe she thinks it's better for him to be in jail. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. I'm like, she must have, I'm like, that's what I was saying is I'm surely she has the money to bail him out if she wanted to, but I guess she's going to be just letting the state pay for him for now. Yeah.
Nick, do you have any family members that are criminals?
Not professionally, no.
No?
Not that I know of.
Nobody served time in your family?
No. I have probably some people that have been arrested, some uncles and stuff, and maybe for certain things, but nothing too crazy. What about you? Do you have any criminal masterminds in your family?
Why, Nick? It's funny you should ask. I actually do have some criminals in my family. So,
oh man!
Shout out to cousin Jimmy.
Oh boy,
he's knocked over quite a few banks over the years. So,
oh my gosh,
yes. So he's he's reformed from what I hear.
Well, that's good.
I asked my mom to stop inviting him to family events. I was like, probably shouldn't invite the bank robber over to family events, but anyway. So
trying to imagine making conversation. Like, you have any good hits lately?
Yeah. Best of luck to Jimmy the bank robber, my cousin. So, all right, Nick. Moving on, we have a Dave Shits in the Woods update here. So, where is Mr. Dave? I think he's entering New England, correct?
Yeah, he's officially entering the Northeast now. He's knocking on the door.
Yep.
So this week started with Nobby meeting me in New York at the Appalachian Market on Route 9. When I got there, it was raining, and when we left, it was pouring and continued all day with rain totals over 2 inches. My feet got destroyed, but we did get Trail Magic Pizza at the end of the day from my friend in New York, Sean, who I'd hiked with in Georgia and North Carolina, but he had to step off trail to deal with his ankle. He joined us for the rest of New York starting the next day and spoiled us with drinks hidden in the woods, slack packing, and turkey club subs from a local deli. Sean's wife is a saint who helped with all of that, and she's also a nurse and helped make my feet tolerable for at least 4 days, which I didn't think was possible. Again, New York trail magic has been impressive. Hopefully we'll see what New England has soon. I think he's expecting trail magic in New England. He's been dropping these little hints. Yep. I think we're picking them up, yep. Dave. We finished up New York, which was definitely challenging at times, especially in the rain and unbearable humidity. Navi and I continued on into Connecticut, which started lovely as states tend to do. Then it got much steeper and way more technical than I ever thought Connecticut could be. We hiked a few more days and had some great campsites, soaked in the river, saw a bald eagle, and had great conversations. My friend Mike picked me up and took me back to his house for a 0 with my other friends coming to visit and deliver my new shoes while Nobby headed home. I got back on trail today and saw some great waterfalls. On my way, I talked to some people clearing the trail, and they shared some secret intel on getting to my campsite where I'm currently dealing with the explosive diarrhea parasite, or maybe just a normal day in my life. We'll see. That's not fun.
No.
Last week was one of my all-time low points of the trip with the weather. Destroyed my feet with tough terrain, but the company and friends I've made it tolerable, and I'm on the other side of it, providing this parasite thing works out quickly. Massachusetts, here I come. Buy stock in toilet paper. So we hope you feel better soon, Dave. That sounds rough. Hopefully it's not Noro or something again. And it's just a random, maybe something you ate kind of thing. But yeah, he's in Connecticut. Sounds like it's quite difficult.
Yeah, that surprised me. I was surprised. Yeah. He said that it's surprisingly difficult in Connecticut. So who knew?
Yeah. Well, he's getting close. So hoping to get out with him maybe in a couple weeks or something as he kind of approaches through New England.
Yeah, unfortunately, this update, I mean, it's great to get an update from him, but the update's not great for me, Nick, because I'm just doing the math on, I feel like he's going to be at Greylock when we're just getting to Katahdin, basically. So I can't take that amount of time off of work, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to figure out another time to get with him. So probably shift up to Vermont somewhere, I guess, the following week.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. I'll likely try to do a day trip if I do. But yeah, I think like you said, he's going to be with how he gave us an update like yesterday on mileage. And I think we're going to, fortunate to be in Baxter, unfortunate to miss Dave. Yeah. But I would have liked to go up over Greylock with him, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the New York, Connecticut line to Mount Greylock is about 120 miles. So he's doing 50 in Connecticut, 90 in Massachusetts, give or take, he'll probably take 1 or 2 0 days during that time period. So that gets him somewhere between the 21st and the 24th, which is exactly when we're going to be going to Katahdin. So
yeah.
So anyway, I will skip Greylock with him and then figure out some time in Vermont to meet him, or maybe that southern part of New Hampshire. I do need to get that section from Hanover up to Dartmouth Skiway, so maybe I'll do that with him.
Okay. Yeah, it's like before you hit, would it be Smarts? Kind of is the first thing you hit over there?
Correct, like Smarts and Cube in that area there. So
okay, cool.
I might be able to get a couple of days to like slack pack him and trail magic him there, so we'll see. Anyway, but congratulations, Dave. You are moving right along.
Yeah, you're doing awesome, Dave.
Yep. Speaking of moving right along, Nick, what's the fastest you've ever driven in a car, either yourself or somebody you've driven with?
Probably like 126, 120, something like that.
It's oddly specific, but okay.
Yeah, what I remember my current vehicle. Yeah, I'll say like mid 120s probably.
In your WRX.
Allegedly, we'll say on New Hampshire state roadways. Right. Allegedly.
Did you feel like it had more in it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really?
I'd say a little bit. Yeah, I think those things are governed pretty high. Yeah, once you start going at 80 or 90, you can feel it going. Again, that's compared to like if you were in like a Corvette or something, that's still like nothing. But it was fast enough for me.
Yeah,
it's about the fastest I've gone in a car.
Yeah. I think I did one of those. I did one of the years ago. We did a car rental thing where you can rent an exotic car, and my buddy rented a Dodge Viper, and then they used to like to drive up to Vermont in the Dodge Viper for the day and get up to like whatever 125 miles an hour or whatnot. But he did about 120 with me in the car going under the tunnel on Route 90 in Boston. The Mass Pike, as before you enter 93, we got up to about 120. That was scary enough for me. I'm all set.
That's fast. Yeah, just to double check, my car is governed if Gemini is to be trusted at 145 miles per hour, which is way faster than you ever need to go.
Yeah, right.
Much faster than you ever need to go.
And your room for error is pretty much like zero at that point.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that in the tunnel. That seems pretty scary.
Right. So if you got pulled over doing that, like, I feel like you're immediately getting arrested.
Yeah, you're going to get, it's one of those, like, I don't know. It was at a time where I didn't expect to see anybody. I would say that, which when you're up early or up late, sometimes that happens. But I saw what it could do, and I was happy and satisfied, and that's about it. Okay. But yeah, you're not explaining your way out of that one.
Right. And it definitely, like, even though we're talking hypothetically, this happened outside the window of what's that called? Statutory or
the statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations, yeah. So
I think it legitimately might be outside the statute of limitations with that, so that's good.
You're good.
But again, we're talking totally hypothetical and allegedly.
Exactly. But the reason I bring this up is a New Hampshire lawmaker was clock driving 107 miles per hour. And she had another speeding ticket going into the low 90s. These all happened in, I guess the 107 miles an hour happened in 2024, and then 92 miles an hour on the same highway happened in 2025. And this has just come out in the news because this lawmaker, her name is, let me see what her name is, Ellen Reed. She is a state rep from Newmarket. So Newmarket is like that area down by like Portsmouth and
the Seacoast.
Seacoast region, yeah. It's a nice little downtown there, actually. They got some nice restaurants and shops and stuff. So anyway, Ellen Reed, but here's her move, is that she's claiming that the sheriff's deputies who stopped her on Interstate 93 had no authority to detain or charge her, since the New Hampshire State Constitution says lawmakers cannot be arrested while traveling to or from the legislature. So that is such a specific law. Yeah, that's very odd. She's asserting legislative privilege to ask that the charges stemming from the 2 traffic stops be dismissed on account of the office she holds. She pressed her case all the way to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, which declined in June to hear her appeal. So they're telling her no. So I guess her legal counsel compared her to a police officer or an emergency medical technician who might exceed the speed limit while responding to an urgent call for services, but they refused to offer up the circumstances that warranted her speed. So she wasn't arriving to the State House in either incident. And it was 65-mile-an-hour speed zone. She was driving away from the Capitol to her work in Woburn. The craziest thing about this entire story is, like, you're never going to believe what the vehicle is. She's driving a Toyota Yaris, which is, like, I think that, like, little golf cart car, isn't it?
Yeah, those are. It's like a compact type Toyota, which is kind of. I don't. Yeah, that's probably about as fast as that thing could go. It must have been a downhill to be going the over 100 one. I don't know.
Is there even that's 3 cylinders in those cars?
Yeah. So I'm like 107 in a Yaris. That's quick.
That's crazy.
Right, you didn't blow up the engine.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, that's such a weird specific law that you can't get arrested going to and from the legislature. Like, again, like ambulances, things like that, I understand, but that seems like someone else was in the past was having some trouble with speeding tickets and decided that was going to be a law.
I guess in both arrests, both incidents, she was not arrested. She wasn't taken to jail. She was summoned. And then her attorney is a former state representative, arguing that legislative privilege meant evidence was illegally obtained and the charges should be dismissed, but a judge presided over the bench file denied that motion. So her appeal to the Supreme Court came in April in the context of the second case, though it pertains to both. I guess this lawmaker yelled at the deputy loudly and aggressively and claimed he didn't understand the Constitution, didn't have any authority to stop.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. The chips that some of these folks have on their shoulders that are in positions of authority.
I mean, the level of entitlement is like crazy. But then again, like
that's the word I was looking for.
I do feel like, I don't know too many politicians, but I do feel like all politicians like have that level of entitlement in their, they want to. It takes a certain amount of chutzpah to basically say, I know exactly the person that should be making up all the rules for everybody else. So
yeah, there's probably a little bit of narcissism inherent to give you the confidence to get in that place.
Right. Sorry if any politicians are listening to the SLASR podcast, but look, it is what it is. So anyway, that's an interesting thing. But I guess she's out of luck now. Supreme Court told her to pound sand.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine even sitting like the judge sitting that court case, having to take that seriously must be really difficult because it's like you're just trying to get off because you're a politician. That's literally why we're here.
It's 2026. It's that 2 years ago now. So anyway, but you know who else is pounding sand, Nick, is this young teenager from Massachusetts is pounding sand with his head after he jumped into Glen Ellis Falls and didn't go well for him.
Yeah, this is probably a Darwin Award type thing, but apparently yesterday afternoon, someone tried to jump off Glen Ellis Falls. So it looks like around 3:45 p.m., New Hampshire Fish and Game conservation officers received a call about a young man who had sustained significant but unknown injuries after reportedly landing on some rock. Really, he landed on some rocks after jumping off Glen Ellis Falls. That's gotta hurt. To remind all of you, 64 feet tall, top of Glen Ellis Falls. So over 6 stories, about a 6-story drop, give or take. Caller reported that the man was seriously injured but didn't really know how injured he was. So the CO requested a response from police and EMS that could get there quicker. It sounds like the conservation officer on call was just unable to get there very quickly. So it sounds like they sort of stepped in. Personnel from Bartlett and Jackson Ambulance, fire departments, Jackson Police, Bartlett Police, New Hampshire State Police, AMC members, SAR, Fish and Game all responded. The young man was quickly located and assessed by EMS. He wasn't able to walk, but appeared that his injuries were non-life-threatening. So I imagine maybe some broken legs, ankles, those types of things from impact and rocks. And once the personnel arrived, they got him in a litter, carried him to Glen Ellis Falls parking lot, and he got transferred to Memorial Hospital in North Conway. 17-year-old male from Massachusetts. Thanks for adding to our reputation now with people from Massachusetts jumping off waterfalls in New Hampshire.
Damn. I'm trying to picture how easy it would be to get up there.
Yeah,
on top of the falls.
I would think if you crossed over the trail, technically it's the bottom of Wildcat Ridge Trail where that starts. You probably could, it's probably a short walk to sort of bushwhack on that side. I think going over the wall, like if you try to do it from the side where like that trail that goes down to the falls would be pretty difficult. But I imagine you could probably bushwhack down the other side pretty easily.
Yeah. It looks
that is if like the water crossing isn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the flow rate on the, at least I'm just looking at the Peabody River here. Maybe that's one of the closest water. I mean, it looks like the flow rate has dropped quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, so maybe it's just not as high. But yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, I don't know, Nick, what's the highest that you've ever jumped into water? Do you remember?
I don't know how many feet. Like if I had to guess, probably like 15 or so feet. There was a converted sailboat schooner that my buddy Gerard worked on like college age, like probably like early 20s. And we'd go up. It was actually in Rockland, Maine. And we went out and we'd volunteer, me and my buddy Rob, and we got to like basically stay there for free. But we'd like help out with like the crew with what they needed. And Gerard knew us, so we were kind of cool. But they basically would take people out on vacation for like a good amount of money and sail around the islands and stuff. And we jumped off, like, I think did they call it the bowsprit, basically, like the long sort of boom that like goes out off the bow. We jumped off that into the water, which I would get, it was probably like 15, 20 feet if I had to guess. It was definitely the highest I've jumped into water before.
Yeah, I've done around that height too. Like there was an abandoned ship in Turks and Caicos that it's like all rusted out and stuff, but you could jump off of that thing. That was probably like 20 feet. But I've jumped off of higher bridges, I feel like, in different places. Okay. Like matter of fact, in Rhode Island, I feel like I jumped off some bridges one time. But I've done some quarries in Gloucester and Quincy that are pretty high. I've jumped off like the higher part of Fry's Leap in Sebago as well. But I don't know, maybe 30 feet would be the top. So 64 feet sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, you're a lot more experienced than I am. I feel like you have this closet adrenaline junkie sort of thing going on. Where didn't you do like a backflip on one of your vacations in the water recently?
That's
or something?
What I did. A gainer off of that ship.
Yeah, you did a gainer. Yeah.
So. I used to. Awesome. We would. I mean, that was Gen X. Yeah. We would like always find. Yeah. Matter of fact, we had a bridge in Middleton that we used to jump off of in the middle of the night. Thunder Bridge. We would all just be drunk
That's awesome.
in the woods, and then somebody would be sober, and we'd all jump in the back of the pickup truck and go jump in Thunder Bridge, and so we were always jumping in water back then, but nothing super high. But I'd say probably Fry's Leap, like the high part of Fry's Leap. I did do that, and that's probably over 30 feet, I would guess.
Now, you may have mentioned a police encounter. Was that before you jumped off it or after?
The high incident was when I was in high school with my friend. He had a place in Long Lake. Then we got in trouble with the police when I was taking my nephew and my daughter a few years ago. Yeah. I was the adult. I was like, let's go jump off Fry's Leap. But
awesome.
Statute of limitation is now run out on that too.
Yeah. What coming out in this episode? What a dirt.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope the kid learns a lesson. I hope he's okay. Yeah. I'm sure that his parents are worried sick about him, but I guess lesson learned, I'd say just don't jump into watering holes unless you know what you're doing, I suppose. So.
This jogged my memory of a story when Ash and I were up there. Probably one of the first times we ever went to Glen Ellis Falls, probably 10-ish years ago. There were posters up, and it looked like someone lost like their dog over the falls. Like there were little posters up and stuff. Like a medium-sized dog. I guess maybe he got off leash and went over. But we were both looking at that thing, and I'm like, there's no way that thing would have survived going over that waterfall with the rapids and stuff. Sad. Any hoots.
Yeah, Nick, I was always obsessed with the idea of like going over Niagara Falls, and just like, because there was people that would go in those crazy contraptions. They would build like the barrels and stuff. You'd see people going with like breathing apparatus, and then some of them died, but some of them did survive. So
could recreate it.
Yeah, maybe that kid should try jumping off in a barrel next time. Anyway, but Nick, I have the hiking topic of the week here.
I get to use the hiking topic of the week drop. That's exciting.
Right. That is right. So
I'm excited.
Slasher's hiking topic of the week.
This guy on one of the 4,000 footer groups, I was just looking at it, I don't know when, maybe yesterday or today. He asked a good question for a dumb reason. So let me explain. He was like talking something about like he has a dog, and he's like, I want my dog to hike all the 4,000 footers off a leash, but I want to be respectful, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, whatever, dude. Just like, if you want to keep your dog off leash, just like let him run off leash, like, and deal with the consequences, because you're going to do it. But his question was, I don't want to disturb any other hikers. So what is the route on each 4,000 footer that is least likely to have crowds? So it got me thinking, and I was like, well, I could do a few of these. So I wanted to get your opinion. And just to give an example, like, so the route that's least likely to have crowds on it. So if you're going to hike the Hancocks, you would do like out and back. You would do east side to Cedar Brook to the Hancock Loop, and then back out that way. That way you're avoiding all the normal people that would come up Hancock Notch, right?
Yeah, that's for sure not a common route. So actually last time I was doing the Hancocks, I went past the Hancock, or one of the junction where Cedar Brook, I guess, continues on, and you branch off onto the Hancock Loop. And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, I noticed right away because it was grass growing in the middle of the trail out there. And I'm like, this is weird. And it took me like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I missed this. And
right.
I don't know this route, even though I've been out here 4 times now.
Right, exactly. So I listed off a couple of 4,000 footers, Nick, that I thought would be like, some of them are busy, but some of them are not. So Mount Moriah, what would be your obscure or least likely way to have crowds?
I mean, I think if anything coming from probably Shelburne Moriah side, the name is escaping me. That's actually the AT, I think, that goes down to that,
that's
over there.
Rocky, oh crap! You're right.
Stony Brook.
No,
maybe no. Get my map up.
Yeah, that's gonna bother.
You had to pick that trail that we don't know what it is.
Well, I think I wouldn't take that trail because that's the Appalachian Trail, but I would take.
That's fair.
I would go. I would go up Shelburne Trail from that Route 2 side to Kendusky Trail. Out and back. So you'd basically go over Shelburne Moriah and then over to Moriah, and then back over Shelburne Moriah and out.
Rattle River.
Rattle River, that's it.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, I forgot that's fair for it being AT. Yeah, I'm sure that side doesn't get a lot of traffic, and I think even hearing Peter and like Jake talk about it, I think they hit that and doesn't get a ton of love over there.
Yeah, and then I have Mount Whiteface. I had Downsbrook from the Kank to Cape Sleeper.
Ooh,
that's a good one. I don't think that gets any travel.
No, for sure. Yeah, so coming off that, like basically the middle trail between Pine Bend Brook and then what's the other one? Oliverian Brook.
Right.
So that kind of runs up the middle to Kate Sleeper Trail.
Right.
Yeah, going across the Sleepers too is really pretty, and you're not going to see many people in there, and certainly not a popular way to go to Whiteface. And you can make, if you got a car spot, it's really not a bad loop if you want to go up that and out past the Conaway, Oliverian Brook or something.
Yeah. And I was thinking about Mount Washington. What would be the least likely route to find? Not including a bushwhack. Like I think Andy from the COG is not going to see anybody on Raymond's Cataract, but like a realistic route to a normal hiker, not a lunatic like Andy.
So the mileage is crazy and it's not a normal thing, but Davis Path, if you came that way past stairs, going up all the way, like going up towards Glen Boulder past Ice. I guess though, once you hit to isolation, you're probably going to see some people. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's not the best option. But what's your pick for a way that you wouldn't see many people?
I had Dry River. Go up Dry River, and then you come up above Lakes of the Cloud, and then you hit those obviously the problem is you're gonna hit Crawford Pass, so that last section, no matter what you do, you're gonna see people. But my thought is that like the least likely to see crowds before that is Dry River, and because we've done that and like we didn't see really anybody at all. But the other route that I had that is kind of like overlooked, but I do think that you can do it and it won't see as many crowds as Nelson Crag. So Old Jackson to Nelson Crag. I don't think a lot. I think sometimes people come down that. I've come down it before, but I rarely have ever seen anybody on that trail.
Isn't it a nice trail?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's really nice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You're above tree line. It's just you sort of go along the auto road going up.
Okay. So. Now, if you were to come in from Great Gulf Trail, is that generally considered like that's way longer than most of a day hike people want to?
I don't think that's usually. Right? I think Dry River would be a longer day.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but yeah, same idea. Great Gulf could be. Yeah. I just feel like Great Gulf gets more traffic.
Okay.
So, I had Lafayette, Nick. What do you think about Lafayette? How would you get out there with no crowds?
I would say probably Skook or Greenleaf.
Right. Skook is what I had. But also you could go up the Watcher and then go across Eagle Cliff and then get with Greenleaf that way.
Have you done both of those two up to Lafayette?
I have not done Skookum Chuck.
Okay. Yeah, I saw pictures that one of my friends posted maybe a couple weeks back from Skook, and it looked really nice. Like you go through, I think it's like it's Eagle Pass over there that you kind of go through. It's almost like a little notch.
I am not sure.
Or maybe it was Greenleaf. It was either Greenleaf or Skook, and it looked really pretty. And I'm like, oh, that's not what I expected it would look like. It looks like you have some views kind of even down lower before you bust out to Lafayette. It looked really nice.
Right. What about Carriage Road? Oh, it was Carriage Road. Moosalok. You had Carriage Road here, so screwed that up. Moosalok.
Yeah, I put Carriage Road. You got Glen Cliff, which is the AT, so I don't think you'd see a ton, but I think every other route, like you got the AT going across with Beaver Brook, Glen Cliff, and then you got Gorge Brook, which is kind of the popular one from Ravine Lodge and Snapper. So I think if you didn't, you're probably going to see a bunch of people once you do. It's a similar caveat to like Washington. Like you're going to see people, I'm sure, on Moosalok if it's a nice day once you get up to tree line. But I suspect you wouldn't see a ton of people until you get to that point where Carriage Road sort of hits Snapper. You probably would be pretty quiet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Benton Trailhead would be better.
Where's that?
That's the one. It's to the north.
Okay.
So, I think that's like I feel like only locals go that way.
All right.
It's off of Tunnel Brook and then Benton Trail.
Okay. Yeah, so, definitely not a common way to go up that.
Yeah, there's like Tunnel Brook Road, and then there's like a couple spots on Tunnel Brook. I've come out that way before. So,
right.
All right. What else do we have here? Oh, Kinsman's, Nick. I have no idea about you have more knowledge of this area than I do.
Yeah, it was. So Franconia Notch side, I go to imagine is going to be busier. You got the Mount Kinsman Trail. One reason you might see a little bit of traffic on this, depending on the day, but with that fee there, I think it does turn a lot of people off. It's a great way up. That being said, and then you got Real Brook Trail that's really not commonly taken. I think the road to that can be a little bit shoddy. Kind of use caution if you're going there, but that's definitely not a way that most people are looking to get up the Kinsmans. Right. I think 90% of people are probably, especially during the summer and the popular months, are going to be going up from the Franconia Notch side and go up like Fish and Jimmy and go by Lonesome Lake.
Right. And then we had Mount Carrigain here.
Yeah, so Carrigan, there's a couple different ways coming in here. Signal Ridge is your popular way. But I go to imagine if you're coming in from like through Nancy Pond, or you're coming in from the east side trail through the Pemmy, similarly to where you guys just went through on your big Pemmy journey. Or if you could come in from like sort of the north and come through like Zealand Notch that way. Long mileage days, I think you're probably more looking at either a really long mileage day or maybe perhaps a really good backpacking trip. But I would suspect you probably wouldn't see a ton of people in there most of the time.
Yep. I think that's good. So, and then last but not least, the Wildcats and Carters, Nick.
Yeah, Wildcats were tough. I was thinking about this one. I guess some of the Carter routes, which we'll mention in a second, could apply since the Wildcats are adjacent to them. But the few times I've been up the Wildcat ski slopes in sort of the spring or the summer months, it's not crazy. I think it's a lot of locals that kind of end up going up there maybe for exercise and not necessarily a ton of people. I go to imagine the Wildcat Ridge Trail most of the time is getting some traffic because it is the AT. But there's not really, it's not like a back way in there. Like you got 19 Mile Brook, you got the ski slopes, or you got Wildcat Ridge Trail.
Well, you
from
got Perkins
Glen Ellis
Notch,
Falls.
though. Don't forget, so Wild River Trail does connect back there into Perkins Notch, but that's like I don't know if that's a day hike though. That's a backpacking trip.
Yeah, it might be kind of a long day. It's certainly not a standard distance day hike.
No,
it's a bit more of an adventure.
So, but yeah, there's no easy way. But I think the Carters, the Dry River, Black Angel Trail, those areas there, there's no easy, quick way. But if you're looking to avoid people like just coming in from Wild River, either direction, you can make your way back there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I did ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT, you already touched on this, Nick. You already got this one, but they said that I asked them to pick the top one that they would recommend, and they said Davis Path to Isolation as their number one 4,000 footer that they would recommend with least crowds on Davis Path.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one though too, because you are probably going to see people going past because it's the access to like Crawford Resolution and stairs. But I feel like with each of those, you're going to see less people the further out you go, with stairs being the last. And after that, I don't think you'll see anybody. Yeah. Most of the time, it'll probably just be you and your friends. Right. That'll be it.
And then the second, I asked ChatGPT again. I was like, we'll do one more. And it said Cabot via Unknown Pond from the north. So basically the route that you took to meet us, it said to do it that way.
Yeah, well, Unknown Pond Trail actually continues to so it goes past Unknown Pond north to the end of the other road over there. So you can actually take it in to go to the... No, I gotta look at that map. I think Unknown Pond continues to the north, like past, like when I'm thinking of that route is like when I did the Horn, I came from the north from that side and actually like basically hit the Kilkenny Ridge Trail from it and then actually went out and back to the Horn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's check. On a map here.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is
Millbrook Road.
Yeah, Millbrook Road. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that one over there.
But I do think in general that area doesn't get as much activity. But yeah, so to recap, so we said, this is the full list, Nick, is if you want to go the least likely to have crowds, Hancock should go east side to Cedar Brook. Mariah, basically approach it from over Shelburne, Mariah via the Shelburne Trail off of Route 2. Whiteface, start on the Kank and go Downsbrook to Cape Sleeper. Mount Washington, we said Dry River or Nelson Crag. Lafayette, we said Skookumchuck or Greenleaf. The only reason I say Skookumchuck's a little better, Nick, is because once you get to the Greenleaf Hut, then you're in the thick of it. So Skookumchuck kind of avoids that until you get to the very summit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of these, it's just tough with some of those popular summits. Like, you're not truly going to have it to yourself, like, once you get above tree line.
Right. I mean, really, the correct answer is to not do the 4,000 footers to avoid tree. But Moosalok, you had said Carriage Road. I had said coming in from Benton Trail. Kinsman's, we had done Mount Kinsman Trail, Real Brook, Bald Peak. Carrigan, anything that hits Desolation Trail. And then Wildcat Carter's anything through the Wild River wilderness there. So, and then ChatGPT said Mount Isolation via Davis or Cabot via Unknown Pond from the north. So it's pretty good. I think that those are all good recommendations, Nick, to avoid crowds.
Yeah, and you got some nice trails in there. I mean, like that whole north section of Unknown Pond, I remember being really nice. You kind of ascend through a valley. I did it in the fall. So sometimes it pays to take the path less traveled, though you're probably going to hit more spider webs, depending what time of year.
Right. And I think if you're going to let your dog off leash, that's fine. But like, just make sure you got something to carry them if they get hurt, and then bring some like pliers and what. The biggest thing I get scared about dogs, Nick, is the porcupines. I've seen enough porcupines on trail. Like, I get horrified about a dog getting hit by porcupines, and it's really not a good look for the dogs.
Yeah, you get some quills in the face or something, or God forbid they stumble upon a moose or something like that too. Like, I'd be more worried about that really with a dog being off leash than necessarily like your dog can't behave and it's going to like bother people. It's the kind of wildlife like it might cross. You never know. Right.
So, all right. Here we go, Nick. Moving on, we've got Baxter State Park. So me and Nick and a group of about 10 of us are going up to Baxter State Park. So I just thought I would quickly give a rundown of the logistics here in case you're planning a trip. So first of all, Nick, if you're going to go to Baxter, we'll hike in Cataract, need permits. So we got our permits in April or May?
Yeah, I think it was back in April. They changed it a little bit where it used to be, I think, 3 or 4 months in advance. It opened to the day that you were staying there and you could get sort of your permits, but they open it all in one day now. And we had quite the time getting parking permits is what we needed this year. And I think Peter or someone ended up finding out that it worked through like the mobile app, but like their website crashed, which wasn't super surprising since I think it's the first time they've done that and just got inundated with requests. We're all like trying all day.
Right. So we got permits for Friday and Saturday, right?
Yes, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to pick like the best. We're going to pick the best weather day to do Baxter, and then I'm assuming, like from a route perspective, we had talked about we're going to leave from Roaring Brook, and then we had talked about going up. Oh crap! I should have had this ready here, Nick.
Yeah, basically to the knife edge. So we're kind of heading up towards, I believe, like kind of towards Chimney Pond.
Helen Trailer or something?
Yeah, the Helen Taylor Trail, yes. I believe it is. And heading up to sort of Pamela Peak, I think you head over there, and then start of the knife edge and going across over to Baxter Peak, and then we'll be going on sort of across the tablelands to Hamlin. And then the plan is to come down sort of the Hamlin Ridge Trail and loop down that way.
Right. And then I suspect that there'll be some of us that won't want to go all the way over to Hamlin, and we might drop into one of the, I don't think we'll go down Cathedral Trail, but we'll go down one of the other trails there. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it should be fun. I mean, we're kind of at the mercy of the weather. Yeah, and it looks like Helen Taylor Trail basically up to Pamela Peak. And then you got Pamela and Chimney Peak over there across the knife edge. Then you end up hitting Baxter, and we will be coming down, looks like Saddle Trail more or less.
Yeah, Saddle Trail will be
across the tablelands.
Yeah. Saddle Trail will be the one if we're dropping, we'll drop before Hamlin, and then if a group wants to go to Hamlin Ridge, and then we'll meet up somewhere. I would assume somewhere on the way back to Roaring Brook would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm stoked to check it out. When I had been up there before, we went up. I know you've been up the opposite side that I have, Mike, but we actually came up through Chimney Pond. We went up Saddle Trail. We did the out and back up Northwest Basin over to Hamlin Peak, and then we went out and back to Baxter, and then we came back down and went down the Saddle Trail to Chimney Pond Trail and out. So we kind of did a little out and back deal. And you had been up from like the southwest, right?
I came up A-Ball, so I stayed at A-Ball campground and then came up the A-Ball trail. So I thought it was very similar, like climbing Mount Washington. Wasn't too crazy at all. And this looks like a little longer approach, but maybe not as steep. But obviously going over the knife edge will be pretty epic. And then, we're staying outside the park. So we're staying, let me just see here. We are staying near Compass Pond in a rustic cabin. So no electricity, no heat, no water, just a gray water sink and it says detached vault toilet. So I don't know what that means. I think it's just an outhouse. So there's going to be 10 of us. So we've got with talking through logistics, we got propane tanks for our grills. We've got, we're going to get a keg for beer so that we can just deal with that instead of a bunch of cans. And then we will be cooking. We're going to do breakfast. We got steak. We got chicken. We got sausages. We got all kinds of good food we're going to be dealing with here.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna be eating in style. We got a lot going on.
I'm bringing a little portable generator for charging stuff, so we should be good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring up my guitar. Been working on a couple new tunes.
Nick's gonna jam out around the campfire. Yeah, there's a campfire there, so we'll have to get some wood. I'm gonna bring the bike, so we're gonna entertain ourselves by watching Nick learn how to ride a bike. And it looks like there's 6 bunks here, very rustic. It's just wooden bunk beds, so we've got to put our sleeping pads on there. And then, I don't know, Nick, I was thinking about sleeping outside, just getting my hammock set up and then crashing outside in the hammock if the weather is appropriate.
Yeah, I'll see. I might throw my tent in just because it doesn't take up a ton of space, but I was thinking if it's like a little bit warmer at night, it might be nice to sit outside, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We did forget to mention too, on the opposite day of whichever day is, I guess, the quote unquote worst weather day, as long as it's not too bad, we're planning on trying to get out to the Brothers, do North Brothers. So one of the New England 67 peaks.
Yep.
That one takes off from, looks like it's the Marston Trail. And you kind of got the option whether you want to go up to North Brother by itself. You can do South Brother, North Brother, which I had done in the past. There's a couple, I think, 100 highest out there. Fort Mountain, I know, is one of them that a lot of people try to get to. So see what happens that day. And then that one's got really nice views out to Katahdin from the top of North Brother. So It's kind of cool to be able to look back at it.
Yeah, and it looks like the cabin that we're at has nice views as well of Katahdin. So we're looking forward to it. Looks right over Baxter State Park. So very excited.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Hopefully the weather looks good, and yeah, it should be a fun time.
Yep. Very good. So, all right. So on to a couple of national news things. One national news thing. This video's been going around, Nick. This was insane.
Oh my gosh.
Grandpa gets launched, absolutely launched 8 feet in the air by a bison when the beast charges him. So this is, grandfather tossed in the air by Yellowstone bison, comes out of surgery with a surprising message for the animal. So this is a grandfather. He looks like a grandfather, Nick. He's got a big bushy beard. He looks like Santa Claus a little bit.
He does. He looks like a Midwest grandfather for sure.
Yeah. He reassured everyone he's okay. He's a typical grandpa. He's like, don't worry about me. 65 years old, thrown 8 feet in the picture, Nick. This is just unbelievable. He's just like
wild.
Ragdolled. Absolutely ragdolled. So he broke his femur with the strongest bone in the body in 4 places near his hip, but was able to stand Monday after having surgery the day before. Look, he's 65. You need a hip replacement anyway. So, yeah, this picture is incredible. Incredible. This looks like a big guy too, Nick.
Yeah, no, that bison makes him look like a ragdoll. I was thinking the same thing. Like, he doesn't appear to be small, and it's fine. I had so many people that sent this to me as well.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's just alive. Like, the way you look at how he got whipped in the air like that, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of force, a lot of physics going on with that thing.
Right, yeah. So the go-to place, so anytime a bison is involved in anyone, you want to go to Torons of Instagram, or Torons of Yellowstone Instagram. So it's a, I don't know what they call that, but it's a combination of 2 words, a tourist and a moron. So they combine those into Toron. And then this is all about videos of, I guess, park guests who get too close to animals. So in this guy's defense, I think I read online that people were commenting, they said this guy was 3 times the recommended distance from the bison. So he was way far away. Him and his grandson and they were apparently at this campsite, and they were just minding their own business, walking back to wherever they needed to go. And turned out that like this bison just charged them from a long distance away. So it really wasn't a case of Grandpa getting too close to this one, because there's like, if you look at this Torons of Yellowstone, there are multiple pictures of people literally standing right next to giant 2,000-pound bisons that would kill them if it decided to charge. But this guy was walking pretty far away and he got charged. So and they were trying to, I guess, hide behind some trees, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, it does seem like 9 times out of 10 with these situations, you see like people trying to get a picture or like a selfie with the bison, and then it like gores them from behind. So At least he was using his noodle. He wasn't being reckless or anything. It sounds like it just was an aggressive bison, and he didn't like him in his space, or he felt threatened or whatever. And he taught, but the power of these animals is just so unfathomable. Like, I think as a human, I'm like, they're just so strong that they can whip like a 200 whatever pound man in the air like nothing. Yeah, like a sack of potatoes.
It's crazy, Nick. Like, I'm looking at this. There's a picture of this girl that's like your daughter's age that's just literally standing right next to a 2,000-pound bison that could just kill her instantly.
Yeah.
People are dumb. Yeah. And I see another video here on, you know how every once in a while you'll hear these stories about people that like fall into the acid pits because they don't stay on the boardwalk. Like there's multiple videos of people just walking around these hot springs and these acid areas just on their own. Like, people are just crazy.
Yeah, I think I've talked about it on the podcast too. I had my own Toron moment when we were in Joshua Tree, and I actually got some cactus stuck in my ankle. So I had a bit of a stupid moment, but nothing that aggressive. Yeah. Luckily, I just had to pull some cactus quills out of my ankle. But you got to read those signs. You got to heed the warnings. I think a pit of acid, though, or a 2,000-pound animal would scare me a bit more than a cactus. So
yeah, people are nuts. There's a bunch of videos on this of people just getting out there to just get pictures, and they're going off the boardwalks, going into these areas where like hot springs are exploding all around them. So good luck.
Acid bad.
Jesus.
Don't want to go to the boiling pits of acid.
Anyway, well, good luck to Grandpa. Hope he's feeling better and all is well here. So.
Hey, what's that sound? It must be time for the pop culture segment with Mike and Stump.
All right, we're going to skip the gear review here, Nick, because you got to get to work. But pop culture talk, just one thing I'll give a little plug. I went to the Noah Kahan concert at Fenway.
It looked like a blast from the stories that I saw shared.
It was good times. Quintessential New England. Yeah, it's tough not to root for this guy. He's just a very likable guy. It's a sort of, I don't know if it's a rags to riches, but it's an unlikely celebrity story, I would say.
Yeah. I enjoyed my text conversations with Mai Tai Mike that evening as well.
I was ripping Mai Tai. Yeah, so we got seated at the Cask and Flagon, and I ripped a couple of Mai Tais and
Cask and Flagon. Excellent. I'm glad you had fun. It looked like a good night. It looked like a lot of fireworks and stuff going on too.
At the end, cool. At the end, they
pyrotechnics going on.
So cool. But they know how to throw a show on there. So it was just nice to see a New England boy make it big.
Yeah.
All right,
good
Nick.
Cinderella story.
So, all right, Nick. If you want stickers if you want Slasher stickers, you can go and get those at the Mountain Wanderer or Spinner's Pizza Parlor in Andover. If you want swag, you can go check out our Bonfire shop. We choose between our super popular hoodies, classic or V-neck T-shirts. Do you ever wear a V-neck T-shirt, Nick? I can't remember. I don't think I've ever worn a V-neck T-shirt.
I'm not a V-neck guy. I think my chest is too hairy for me to want to wear a V-neck.
To be a V-neck guy?
I don't know. I think you got to be like chiseled and you got to be hairless. That's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try a V-neck on the trail one day.
Oh for 2, Nick.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
I'm 1 for 2. I'm hairless, but not chiseled. All right, Nick, if you want to donate to us to pay for Nick's electrolysis treatments, you can go ahead and get Slasher's Buy Me a Coffee, and your donations will help us pay for web hosting, distribution, and live events, as well as Nick's cosmetic surgery so that he can wear a V-neck T-shirt. And if you want to be a monthly supporter, you can tick a small box by making it a regular monthly donation, and you'll become part of what's called Slasher Senator. So,
yes.
Hey, hold my beer. It's time to find out what Mike and Stomp are drinking on this week's Beer Talk.
very good. And now's part of the show where we talk about what beer we are drinking, Nick.
I'm not drinking. So I've got NA beer. I've got Athletic tonight, which is my weak type mood. But I was riding the Cloud Candy train this weekend again. The Cloud Candy light train, I should say.
I like that.
So yeah.
I brought the thunder so hard at that concert on Friday night that I've been drinking water ever since.
If it's still hydrating, well, you got to bring the thunder sometimes, Mike. It's got to happen.
Well, so I was drinking the Mai Tais. I had a few of those. And then we got into Fenway, and my daughters were like, oh, I want the Sun Cruisers or whatever they are, the seltzers. And you stand in line. There's only one place that sells them. And then I was looking like you could get a Bud Light for $14, I think. So I was like, well, I can get a vodka lemonade drink for $17. So I just got a couple of vodka lemonade drinks for me. So
very nice.
So I wasn't doing too well on Saturday morning.
Yeah. The Mai Tai to vodka lemonade seems like a risky. Well, you can't start with Mai Tais. I think that's
rum to vodka. So
yeah.
I knew we should have gone left back there.
Stomp, don't worry. I know it's this way. I've got a feeling in my gut.
Are you sure you're not about to have a bowel emergency?
Totally. We got this.
But I just blew out my hip. Fell down that gully with my 40-year-old microspikes.
Suck it up, Stomp. It's 4 p.m. We're at 3,500 feet. We got 9 miles back to the parking lot. Your leg may be broken. We got no cell connection, and we can't feel our fingers. But we're finishing all of my list tonight. By the way, I need some water. I'm empty.
I would if I could see what I'm doing, but my headlamp batteries are dead.
You gotta be kidding me. What a chump. This is the last time I hike with you.
Whatever, mister. Do you know me? I have a podcast.
Whatever.
Let's find out what Mike and Stomp have been hiking.
Anyway, Nick. All right. Now's the part of the show where we talk about recent hikes. So you've got a little bit of work. You've got a little bit of hiking detail. I got nothing. So what do you got?
So was up doing this started as like a Father's Day sort of gift idea because my father-in-law is super into golf, and we're always like, oh, we should go to Myrtle or go somewhere, which we haven't done after talking about it for 10 years. So I finally was like, I know somebody with a place up in New Hampshire, like, let's go for the weekend and golf. He approved and got it's I could say my Uncle Paul, but technically my uncle-in-law, my Uncle Paul, and my buddy Josh from the Puds podcast up. But that was our normal golfing foursome when we more golfed. Like, we used to golf probably almost every weekend for a good period of a couple of years together. So it was nice to get the gang back together. But long wraparound story to that. Friday morning, I had taken the afternoon off and drove up early. I'm getting itchy to hike, which probably isn't super surprising to most people that know me, but I actually went up and investigated how viewless Black Mountain was in Jackson earlier in the morning. It was foggy. It looks like maybe you could see Mount Washington from the very summit out this little window of trees, but it's pretty damn viewless. That being said, a really nice trail, nice hike. If you do want to check it out, it was just some pretty woods and ferns and stuff, a lot of moose pooping spots. There's a cabin up there too, which I didn't realize, on sort of the ski trail up the backside, which was kind of cool. And then later in the afternoon, after some work and some meetings and stuff, got out with Josh for his first mountain in a super long time, and we did the Doubleheads, which I think I've done 4 or 5 times now, and we ended up going up Old Path over to the South Peak, and then we ended up coming back towards north and then down the ski trail. Saw a group coming down in the morning that must have been staying at the cabin I would take that was like 8 or 9 people. But we didn't see like anybody up there really for a Friday afternoon. And even though it was hazy in the morning, I didn't have views. It actually cleared up pretty nice by the afternoon. Could see out to Washington and the surrounding area. So that was cool. And then did some golfing at Wentworth Golf Course in Jackson on Saturday. And then Sunday morning, we hit the Omni Resort. We were big spenders and played their championship 18-hole course. And it had absolutely phenomenal views of Washington, the whole area. Yeah. It was killing me a little bit not being able to be out hiking because I'm just that's what I'm probably a little bit more. I enjoy golf. It was a lot, and it's about being with the guys and kind of hanging out, and we had fun. But I was like, man, I hope someone's getting like a Prezi Traverse in, because Sunday morning was absolutely gorgeous.
It was the golf course at the Omni crowded, or was it pretty move along pretty well?
No, we moved along pretty nicely. We teed off like really early. Like I think at Wentworth we teed off around 7, and then kind of the same situation at the Omni. So we kind of got there and hit some balls, and we teed off like, I don't know, 7:20 or something like that. But yeah, not super packed, which I was kind of surprised. And, maybe in the afternoon it'll speed up, but it was fun.
And Nick won't brag on the podcast, but he was bragging on the guys chat group that I think he shot in the low 90s, which I think is pretty good. I don't think I would be able to shoot in the low. I'd be probably between 100 and 110 if I was out there.
Yeah, I get that. That's like, I would say it's subjective. That's good for me. Like I've broken 90 a few times, but I think I got down to around a 17 handicap, probably at my lowest. But yeah, I played for not playing for like literally about a year. I did hit the range on Thursday night, but shot like a 91 at Wentworth and like a 94 at Mount Washington. So I was happy with that.
That's pretty good
to break 100 and get out there. Yeah, we had fun. Didn't lose too many balls, not too many casualties, and didn't flip any carts over on any of the hilly parts, though we walked Wentworth, so we couldn't flip anything. But the resort, we ended up taking a cart just to get out earlier. But it was fun.
All right, well, good for you. I didn't do any. I'm still recovering from my my muscle strain here, so I've been just playing it safe. I'm just not going to push it because
how's the strain? Have you felt it
at all?
I haven't
felt anything, but I haven't run. Good. I haven't done anything. I just rested. Okay. So I have been up to my brother's and my sister-in-law's farm in Wakefield. Doing a bunch of work there. Like they've made a ton of progress. They've cleared some fields. We've got like the fencing guy was in there to put, I think he's got 3 paddocks that they're going to be fencing off next week. And then we got the four horses are up there. And then cool. We've done like a lot of we've filled like a couple of dumpsters. It was a hoarder situation. So it's a lot of like old trash and stuff like that we had to move out of there. But now he's got most of the basics cleaned up and the horses seem happy, so that's all that matters. And then he's got nothing but time on his hand to get this thing set up.
Yeah, I mean, from what you shared, the property looks absolutely beautiful. I mean,
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Junk aside, like, I mean, just from what you've said, it looks like a picturesque, just New England farm, like what I'd imagine.
Yeah, you guys will have to come up and check out the horses and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a labor of love for sure, and it's going to take them some time, but they'll get it done. I mean, they're passionate about it and they love the horses, and keep an eye out for it. I think that eventually they will be boarding. So if any listeners want to board their horses there, then it'll be a pretty nice. I mean, one thing I will say is the place needs some work in some areas, but the main indoor training arena and then the outdoor training area and the paddocks are awesome. So they'll be good for the horses. I'm learning a little bit. I don't know much about horses, but I'm learning.
Cool. So yeah, I know nothing about horses. I have a cousin that like actually boards a horse and does all that, and she's done like competitions and stuff, and jumped on them. I've seen her jump on horses, which to me is like that's a whole different level.
It's interesting. There's 4. They have 4 right now. 3 young horses and then 1 older horse. The 3 young horses all stick together, like they move in a single unit the whole time. So whenever they move together. And they're always kind of like touching each other. And then the other horses, the older horse is like an alpha mare. They're all female horses, but the older horse like controls them. So if she wants to move them from one area to another, she'll just like start walking towards them and then they'll move. But yeah, the 3 horses all just move as one unit. It's kind of crazy.
That's cool. Yeah, I know they have a pretty interesting sort of social structure. At least I just know loosely through talking to my cousin. I don't really know that much about horses. There's a couple places in Rehoboth too that board horses like not far from our house, and I always feel like they're mocking me when I'm running. They'll like run up along the fence and run faster than me.
Right.
But
yeah.
It's time for Slasher's Notable Hike of the Week. If you want to be considered for the Hike of the Week, simply tag Slasher on your social media post.
All right, so moving on here, we got our Notable Listener Hikes of the Week here, Nick. So what do we got?
Yeah, so we're catching up a little bit. Hopefully I got you if you're up for the past week or so. Just tag us on Instagram, not on Facebook, and we'll try to get you. So go ask Brian, Semi-Pemmy. He went up the Old Osseo Trail up Whaleback, and went up to Galehead and then down Gale River Trail, so sort of half the Pemmy Loop. Arlo the Beagle, our frequent flyer here. Mount Crawford for 42 out of 52 with a view. Folkstar was busy. He did a Tremont and Sawyer Pond loop, which looked really interesting, kind of the back way out to Tremont. And then hit the Dix Range in the 80Ks, which I believe our friend Steve was recently on, and had a little adventure out there with him last September. So 19 out of 46. Congrats. It seemed like a lot of white mountain hikers that I know were getting out to the 80Ks the last 2 weeks. So that's kind of cool to see. Then he was out doing Canyon with great views of Franconia Ridge from Lonesome Lake. So he was busy out there. Great pictures. 802 Trail Pup 6. I thought this was funny that our two dog people were both doing 42 out of 52 with a view.
I know, that's interesting.
But they did Cardigan and Fire Screw. And then did the Horn by Unknown Pond. Kind of that route we were just talking about from the north for 42 out of 52 with a view. So nice job there. And then Melly Marizelli. My apologies on the pronunciation of that, but she was busy out doing and working on her 48 and her Northeast 115. So she did the tries. This was across a couple days, but the Tri-Pyramids, Whiteface Pass, Conaway, and Carrigan. 41 out of 48 and then 98 out of the 115. So she's getting kind of close. She's knocking on the door there. Mm-hmm. Nice work. Liz Fay, our friend Liz, exploring some RMC trails in the northern Prezzies. I believe she got some joking flack about redlining because this was like a redliner route, but she claims to just be exploring RMC trails. She was not redlining.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that, but in any event, she did Amphibrock, Coldbrook Falls, Spur Trail, Hinks. She visited Grey Knob Cabin, then she did Randolph Path, visited the Perch, then she came down Falls Way with Tama, Sal Rock, and Gordon Falls. And I always get a double, I kind of forget, I just know from the frequent evaluate, but it's always crazy to me to think that Randolph Path like goes that whole way from like where Edmonds Cole is to like freaking by Falls Way and kind of joins Valley Way down over there and then keeps going to like Aptal HB. But nice job, Liz. Some pretty pictures too on West. That's another area you're not going to see a lot of people in if you want to go on any of those trails pretty much any time of year. Cecil on the Trail, who I crossed on Moose Lock way back in the spring, finished his New England 67 on North Brother in Baxter, where we'll be heading pretty shortly. Idavia, Narragansett Trail down in my home state of Rhode Island in Hopkinton. He said it was scrambly and pretty relatable to New Hampshire, so maybe I'll have to go check it out one day. And they did McGalloway, way up north, northernmost 52 with a view. Marley Sue 2 did Eastman for 46 out of 52 with a view. J.H. Black 1970, this guy that I think we know him, right? Monroe and Washington Loop, and he said that his legs were pissed at him basically afterwards. But great job, Jay.
That's our friend Jay. Yeah, he's really come a long way.
Yeah, crushing it. That friggin' hiker, Lynn Woods. Then our friend Summit Snack Attack. This was a really recent one. Sucking Smog on the Osceolas with Riley M. Bailey. Looked like they were out on the Osceolas today with that wildfire haze. That was very evident.
Yeah.
So who gets it this week, Mike?
I think shout out to all the people that are getting close on their 52 with the views. So the two dogs and then Marley Sue are getting close. So we'll definitely give them a shout out. And then also shout out to Melly for getting, that's a pretty epic, the Tri-Pyramids, Whiteface Pass, Conway, Carrigan for the 48. And they're getting close to the New England 115. But I would say Cecil on the Trail gets it for finishing his New England, or his Northeast, New England 67 on North Brother. So shout out to him.
Right on, Cecil. And there was much rejoicing.
And there was much rejoicing.
All right, Nick, to wrap up the show here, we've got some search and rescue news here. So it looks like we got 5 search and rescues that happened. So I have tallied up our search and rescues, and I think that we're pretty much on pace for what we were the last few years. So there's nothing too outstanding. It does seem like the volume's higher, but the volume's typically high in July anyway. So.
Yeah, these are all, they all came in. I was thinking maybe this would push us over the bubble. I was genuinely curious with how much we had last show and kind of with this.
I'll take another look. I mean, the volume is definitely high because we've already covered 2 or 3 press releases, but we had 2 on Mount Chikora on July 13th. So this first one is, the press releases came out on the 13th, but this one was on Saturday, July 11th, 12:06. This was on the Piper Trail on Mount Chikora. So this was a local New Hampshire person that was hiking with his wife on the Piper Trail to the summit of Mount Chikora when he slipped and fell and got a knee injury, unable to walk or bear weight on his knee. So he was about 3 miles up on the trail from the parking area, so that's not great. Trail steep and rocky with multiple switchbacks through difficult terrain, which delayed the rescue efforts. He was carried in a litter the whole 3.2 miles from the trail to the trailhead parking area. So call came in at 12. They got him back down a little bit before 8 o'clock, and he was transferred off to the hospital. So that's not a fun rescue. So that's 3.2 miles. Nick, that's got to be up on the ledges, like pretty much like almost to the summit.
Ways. Yeah, that's a ways for sure. We had a couple last week where we were talking about people like a mile out or whatever, kind of getting an ankle injury. And this is generally what you don't want to happen.
Right.
Yeah, not a great spot.
Right.
Not a great spot.
Hopefully he was a light guy. I don't know. About 3 miles. So then the night before that, at 6:55 p.m., Fishing Game Go notified same area, different side of the mountain on Chapney Falls Trail in Albany, a 24-year-old hiker from Lincoln, Rhode Island, Nick, answer for this. Was hiking with a companion and slipped on a wet rock in the area of Chapney Falls, so not too far up. He continued hiking for approximately 3 hours until he couldn't continue due to his injury. If he's at Chapney Falls and maybe he was going up, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he kept going up and then it got a lot worse or something like that. Maybe the adrenaline kind of, because I would think even if you had like a rolled ankle, like you can make it down pretty close to the parking lot.
That's exactly what happened here, because he was located around a little over 3 miles from the trailhead parking area. He was assessed and stabilized and carried down the trail to the parking area at 2:15 a.m. and then transported to North Conway Hospital. So that's what happened. He must have injured himself, kept going up, and then finally couldn't do it anymore, and then called for rescue. So 2 3+ mile carryouts on Chicora. So that is tough. Lakes region had a rough weekend.
Yeah, they got their workouts in for sure.
Yeah, so and I'll do one more, Nick, and then you can wrap up here. So this one was on Saturday, July 11th. This was a hiker that had fallen and suffered non-life-threatening injuries near the bottom of the Greenleaf Trail while descending Lafayette. 64-year-old hiker from Massachusetts, unable to continue at the time. So our rescuers were responding to this other issue in Lonesome Lake that Nick's going to talk about. They redirected some of the crew to Greenleaf Trail to locate and assist this hiker. Once on the scene, they were given medical aid, and she was able to walk the remaining distance to the end of the trail. So all's well that ends well on that one. Sounds like easy peasy, Nick, but what was going on at Lonesome Lake as this was going on?
Yeah, so around 4:35 p.m. that day, conservation officers were notified of a hiker who was experiencing severe fatigue-like symptoms at Lonesome Lake. A 56-year-old from Norfolk, Mass. hiked up the Basin Cascade Trail with friends, but could no longer continue to hike right around the dam at Lonesome Lake. So sort of I believe that's on sort of the southern side of the lake, not too far from the hut. Mentioned that the hiker had spent 2 hours in the degraded state while she was assisted by her hiking companions. Personnel from the AMC Lonesome Lake Hut and Good Samaritan hikers decided to place a call for help due to the severity of her symptoms. And a rescue effort was started. So it looks like our friends on PEMI Search and Rescue, conservation officers, and the Fish and Game Department responded to the Lonesome Lake trailhead and began to hike up to Lonesome Lake. And fortunately, at that time, the hiker was actually able to start descending the Lonesome Lake Trail with assistance from AMC personnel and members of her hiking party. So the rescuers reached her around 6 p.m., approximately 8.8 miles, above the trailhead, so not too far, right into those steep switchbacks. And the hiker continued with assistance the rest of the way to the trailhead, reaching it safely at 7:05 p.m. It sounds like she was just released to Linwood Ambulance at the trailhead. So sounds like just sort of maybe sort of an exhaustion one, and then maybe she got some electrolytes and water or food in her, and then kind of got some energy. And a lot of times that can change your attitude. I know personally, even when you start bonking or whatever, I don't realize like it's happening, and then you kind of realize, oh, maybe I just needed a Cliff Bar or something to get you sort of moving again and change your attitude a little bit.
A little lemonade and a chocolate chip cookie from the hut will do it, Nick.
Oh, yeah. That will definitely hike in clutch.
Right.
So next up, we're heading over to kind of a bigger day on Mount Washington. So this was also on Saturday. Personnel from multiple rescue teams teamed up to help an injured hiker off of Mount Washington to seek medical treatment. So approximately 7:45 a.m., New Hampshire Fish and Game Department COs were notified that a staff member at the AMC Lakes of the Clouds hut had taken a serious fall at the hut and was left unable to walk. So Fish and Game subsequently mobilized a search and rescue personnel to help evacuate the young hiker from a remote location. By 10 a.m., members of AVSAR, PEMI-SAR, the AMC, and Fish and Game would gather at the base station of the COG Railway. The COG generously donated room on their trains, and rescuers and equipment were given rides up Mount Washington to the West Side Trail, which allowed for a shorter and less strenuous 1.6-mile hike. The only other alternatives would be going up Ammo, likely in this situation, they go up Jewel, so would take quite a bit more time if the COG didn't assist there. By 11:20 a.m., rescuers were at the hut with the patient, so an hour and 20 minutes later. So after they kind of started, so not bad at all with that COG ride up. The patient was subsequently packaged in a litter and prepared for a overland carry-out back to the COG tracks. So by 2:15 p.m., they had made it back across the West Side Trail and onto the train tracks. The COG pretty much picked him up from there and brought him back down the mountain. Patient was evaluated by personnel from Twin Mountain Fire and Rescue and was ultimately driven from the scene and taken to Memorial Hospital North Conway for further evaluation and treatment. Sounds like just multiple injuries related to the fall. The hiker was identified as a 26-year-old from Willimantic, Maine. And Fish and Game just wants to shout out. I think this story, too, is a perfect example of how well all these different rescue groups in New Hampshire work together, from volunteers to Fish and Game. You got the COG, a private company, sort of getting in there and getting involved. We'll say it again and again, but people always have mixed feelings on the COG and stuff, but they are the first to step in and help whenever search and rescue needs a lift up to West Side Trail, even when sometimes when the weather is borderline safe enough for them to even run their trains in the winter. So shout out to the COG for helping out there again too.
Yeah, that's always, they're always there to help out. So good to see. Andy had posted a couple of photos. There was like 20 people out in front of the COG getting all set up and whatnot. So good to know that they're out there. And Nick, I think that does it for us today.
Yep, I bid you adieu.
Nick's got to go to work, and I got to go put together a bureau for my daughter. So until next time, we will see you again.
All right, bye everybody.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to learn more about the topics covered in today's show, please check out the show notes and safety information at slasherpodcast.com. That's SLASR podcast.com. You can also follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. We hope you'll join us next week for another great show. Until then, on behalf of Mike and Stomp, get out there and crush some mega peaks.
Now covered in scratches, blisters, and bug bites, Chris Staff wanted to complete his most challenging day hike ever.
Fish and Game officers say the hiker from Florida activated an emergency beacon yesterday morning. He was hiking along the Appalachian Trail when the weather started to get worse. Officials say the snow was piled up to 3 feet in some spots, and there was a wind chill of -1 degree.
And there's 3 words to describe this race. Do we all know what they are? Only one hill!
Here's Lieutenant James Neeland, New Hampshire Fish and Game. Lieutenant, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
What are some of the most common mistakes you see people make when they're heading out on the trails to hike here in New Hampshire?
It seems to me the most common is being unprepared. And I think if they just simply visited hikesafe.com and got a list of the 10 essential items and had those in their packs, they probably would have no need to ever call us at all.